Season 3 of Fortnite has brought back Dr. Slone, and it's left many people wondering, how did she even get here? From her origins in the imagined order to the genius plan she has for the island, it's about time that we uncover all the missing pieces to the story of Dr. Slone. Ever since Slone was a child, she has always had a rather impressive talent for mathematics, science, and combat. These skills are what allowed her to join the imagined order at such a young age, as she was essentially a child prodigy. As soon as Slone arrived into the workplace, she began to amaze the other employees with all of her complex knowledge. She introduced whole new concepts and ideas to her colleagues who had been working within the order for hundreds, even thousands of years, yet she already had a one-up on them. But this couldn't even begin to show the immense power and knowledge that Slone had developed just within the early years of her life. As she sped through the ranks of the imagined order, her boss Jeno quickly assigned her the role of co-leader, and that allowed him to take the backseat and watch as this child prodigy ran his entire organization. But who exactly is Jeno, and what exactly had Slone just signed up for? Well, before I tell you, why don't you subscribe to the channel down below if you're enjoying the video so far and you never want to miss Fortnite content like this. Jeno is a scientist specializing in genetic perfection and manipulation. His main goal is to figure out the perfect way to run the ideal civilization, and he does this using the 0 point, which is the heart of all realities. In Chapter 2, Season 5, the 0 point begins to destabilize, and Slone sends in one of Io's field agents into the loop to sort things out. This agent's name is Jones, and he is tasked with the job of assembling hunters from across reality to come to the island and defend the 0 point. Now, this does sound like a very daunting challenge at first, but Jones takes on this role with courage, and although it is very difficult, he gets through it just fine, and just as he's about to report back to Slone, she doesn't even listen.
What's the point of recording these logs if you're not gonna listen? We've lost control of the 0 point. Do you get what that means? You must not, because you're doing nothing.
Slone has sent him out to whole other universes doing extremely dangerous things across the journey, and he has risked his life to do this. She couldn't even be bothered to hold up her end of the deal, which makes him feel like he's wasted all of his time and energy. In retaliation, Jones reaches out to the Seven, who are the enemy of the imagined order. He gets help from the Seven's leader, known as the Foundation. It is heavily suggested that the Foundation used to work within the imagined order, and we know he had some sort of a relationship with Slone, which he just calls unfinished business. After getting help from the Foundation, the 0 point is sealed off in a tower of stone, but Slone's job is not over. This tower is called the Spire, and it is flowing with 0 point energy. There's also a hint of corruptive energy which attracts the last reality, but more specifically a distant alien race who want to conquer and destroy the Omniverse. This is the army of the last reality, and with their arrival, Slone takes a stand and starts a war against these foreign beings. She notices that they've came in with some abductors, and they begin to tear locations from the ground and into the ships. This gets Slone thinking, and after tracking their plan, she places a set of bombs within their next abduction site. The plan is ready, and Slone is willing to sacrifice our lives just for it to work. And it is at this moment that we truly realize she is not on our side, and after joining the imagined order, Jeno has changed her for the worse. The ship explodes, and the aliens' most powerful weapons are let out across the island. Meanwhile, Slone is on the hunt for her former colleague Jones, and once she finds him, she locks him up in an imagined order prison for betraying the faction. Something that she didn't realize is that Jones is still allied with the Seven, and after finding the prison, the Foundation breaks in, rescuing Jones and making an escape. Now the only option that the Seven have left is to evacuate the island and inhabit its other side. It is revealed that on the bottom of the current island there's a whole new world for us to explore. This is called the Flip Side, and it was most likely created to keep the 0 point safe in this sandwich type position. That way no one can attack the 0 point from the top, the sides, or the bottom, but in the middle Slone is still stuck, and she begins to use powerful drills to reach the other side and take action. The Seven gear up, and Slone gathers her army, which is then unleashed in an all-out battle of Chapter 3, Season 2. The war is so hectic, and every single week the two factions keep fighting back and forth for ownership of different locations across the island. The Seven call in for a backup plan to recommission a giant robot that was driven by a member of their group called the Paradigm. The imagined order also formed plans to eliminate a key defense mechanism in Fortnite, which is of course building. The two factions are at strong odds, and the final battle is ready to commence. As the mech reaches the island, Slone and Jeno unleash thousands of tanks and robots and turrets, but their force is just simply not enough. With one slam of its fist, the robot crushes Slone to the ground, and the Seven now have the entire island to themselves, including the 0 point, which seems to be releasing a concerning amount of energy across the island. Within just a few months, members of the Seven stop answering calls and begin to disappear entirely. With the imagined order gone, the 0 point is free, and it's very vulnerable to serious threats such as the last reality and the Nothing, and a substance of the nothing called the Chrome consumes all members of the Seven except Paradigm, and in her final efforts to save the island, she activates Zero Fusion. The process begins, the island explodes, and the Zero Point forms a whole new world with old pieces. One of these pieces that it grabs is Dr. Slone, and she is alive and well at the bottom of the old island. The Zero Point places her back underground within one of the realities that it has just pulled in. On the surface, the island is falling apart, and it all leads to the ground splitting open, revealing that Slone is still alive and that there's also a vast jungle biome beneath it that she's been living in. Almost immediately, a citizen of the island named Relic comes to Slone's rescue and gets her all fixed up after being crushed by a massive robotic metal fist. Slone contacts us through lab recordings which she has kept within her newly found tech, and she wants us to uncover more about the secret civilization that first lived within this jungle area. We know that they use chunks of kinetic ore to create their most advanced technology, including weapons and scientific technology such as high-quality telescopes which use prisms of the kinetic ore to manipulate light, and all of these devices are truly intriguing for Slone. This all likely leads back to her initial passion for mathematics, science, and traveling the Omniverse, and this linking back to her origins is something really interesting, and her character will only expand further from here. If you don't want to miss any news on what happens next with Dr. Slone or any other story characters, subscribe to the channel and like the video below, and I'll see you around in the vast and dangerous Omniverse.